Hi, welcome to Right Brain Rescue Podcast. My name is Dr. Laura Sallier, and I have a mission to elevate creativity as a platform, as the sixth vital sign. And here I interview people as they talk about nurturing their flow state. These are interviews that will inspire and invigorate you to find your own creative niche and how vital this is for happiness and wellness. We'll combine tips from neuroscience, functional medicine, and positive psychology so you can tap into your unique creativity and start living with authenticity, purpose, and joy. Welcome, Cassandra Check. She is a mom of two, a fitness blogger, and she has her own website, fitstrongmoms.com. Welcome, Cassandra.
Thank you, Dr. Laura. Thank you so much for having me today.
Absolutely. You have such a unique journey because, like me, you are not an athletic person. And now your business is about being fit and strong and bringing that element into your daily life for moms that, have a busy, stressed schedule. So tell me a little bit more about your journey.
All right. Yeah, great. So basically, kind of like you said, I did not grow up athletic or, even that active as a child. I was actually homeschooled, so I didn't have a lot of opportunities to play sports or be on sports teams, things like that. So growing up, I was much more inclined to reading and writing, and actually music was kind of my first passion. I like to sing and play piano and guitar, and I still like to do those things. But when I met my now husband, we started dating when I was in college. He was very into fitness, very into strength training. He actually did some mixed martial arts stuff, kind of all over the board with things. And he got me into, working out on a regular basis and taught me so many things that I didn't really know about, being fit and active. And I really fell in love with it. I really fell in love with, strength training, which is still kind of a newer thing for women. A lot of women, they go to the gym and they stick to cardio and they don't want to, try out the weights. But there's so many benefits and there's so many ways you can do it, safely as a woman, and and guys too. Just there's so many ways you can do it. So that was really kind of what got me into, fitness. So basically, after my husband and I got married, we continued to kind of live that active lifestyle, and I really fell in love with it. So when I was pregnant with my son, I had actually graduated college. I got my degree in marketing and finance from UW-Milwaukee, and I was working a corporate job. And then when I was pregnant with my son, I actually pursued my ACE personal trainer certification because I really wanted to tap into this kind of new passion that I had, this new area of my life with physical fitness. So I got that, but my son came along, and then not too much longer after that, my daughter came along. My kids are only about a year and a half apart. So I didn't really do a whole lot with it, even though, personally I continued to be very active and love fitness and all that. So I was working a part-time marketing job from home with my kids, and I kind of came up with this idea, and talked to my husband about it. What do you think about us starting a website and a blog, for fitness, especially for moms? So for me, fitness is a big part of my life, and it has helped me in a lot of ways, especially as a mom. I dealt with postpartum depression. I had some really rough pregnancies. So having fitness as part of my life really helped with that. So I wanted to bring that out to other women, other moms, and let them know, there is a way to make fitness a part of your life, and really work for you and not feel like a chore. So that's where this whole idea of Fit Strong Moms came about. So like you said, we have blogs about, healthy living, tips on, making fitness work for you, especially as a mom. And I even delve into things, just mom related, because that's important too. And we've got workout programs, which is awesome. And especially we have a personalized workout program. So this is something that I really think is great for a lot of moms. Everybody's got a different schedule. Everybody's got, different commitments and different goals. So we really listen to what, you need in your life and how to make fitness work for you. And then we create a plan based on that. So
I love that, because what you're doing is you're turning your own journey, your own personal take on motherhood, which I would say 90% of us have that take. I just did I read a little paper that said since 1969, we have added 251 hours to a working mother's annual schedule of duties. And I believe it, because now with technology, we're ever more connected, which is a good and bad thing. Mm-hmm. And working moms have a lot of duties. And yes, we're trying to balance this out, but old habits die hard and the cultural shift isn't happening yet. And so we've got these moms that have this expectation that it's supposed to be easy, that motherhood's going to be roses and wine. And unfortunately, wine they drink too much of, as we can see in some research, because moms are feeling that stress and they don't know. They think, what's wrong with me? How come I'm not able to juggle this as well as what it looks like on Instagram or Facebook. And you're giving that real approach. Like, listen, I get it. We all have lived it. And I love that tribe feeling that you're giving this all-inclusive, hey, we all get it. And the gloves come off, the face, the shields come down, and let's do this together and find a way to make this fun and every day, because it is essential, right?
Oh, yes, definitely. Yeah. And I agree with you. Like, there's still kind of this mindset, especially for moms, especially for women, like, you can do it all, you can have it all. And yes, that is true, but there is sacrifice and there's always some kind of give and take, and it's okay. I think a lot of women, a lot of moms feel like, I'm not measuring up to what, so-and-so is doing on Facebook, and get this image of everyone else's life that seems so perfect, and we wonder, like, why are we failing, and why can't this work? I mean, I struggle with that all the time, especially doing my own business and then staying home with my kids. So it definitely is a balancing act, but it's okay to struggle sometimes, and it's okay to ask for help, and okay,
and you mentioned it, like, you're right, like, you see the stay-at-home moms and they're like, well, gosh, I feel like the working moms have it better because they get that actual identity in adult time. And then you see the working moms go, wow, the stay-at-home moms are a way better mom than I am. And it's all this like comparison. And like you said, you can't have it all. And I look at it like almost like a daisy wheel, and we can only shine our spotlight on one part at a time. And I think what you're doing is you're showing women that, yes, you can have a lot of things on this daisy wheel that will require your attention, but you're showing them how to turn that and how to get that spotlight to each part that they need. And that it's all crucial, not just to only shine it on your kids or only shine it on your career, but you can have a balance. And yes, there's always going to be one part of your life that's neglected when you're shining your spotlight somewhere else, but it's okay. It's okay to do that and switch it and be nimble. And I think that's great. I love it. What would you say? You sound like you're already a very creative person. If you were a musician and pianist and singer, would you have any particular proud creative moment that you can recall?
Yeah, so definitely I would say for me recently, building my website was definitely like a big creative moment for me because I did it from scratch. So I had some experience with my old marketing job of working in WordPress and doing a website redesign. So I learned a lot doing that, which is awesome. So I was like, okay, when I got this idea to build this website, I was like, you know what, I'm going to save a little money and do it myself, and it's a little scary. But I was able to do that. I used a free WordPress template, and then I used some of the plugins, that they have available, and I built out this whole website. So to me, it took me a number of months to do it. And I spent a lot of evening time on it and everything like that. In bed. But it was really exciting to see it all come together because, I was able to put my first blog up, which, had a special place in my heart because it was my first writing project aspect to the business. And then I put up my first workout video, and that had a special place in my heart because it was another part of it. So I got to see everything come together, and I really enjoyed that, and I'm sure I'll continue to make improvements to my website and updates, but to do that process was really exciting. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It kind of blended everything together that I liked.
Talk about using your skills. That's great, and that's really the definition of creativity. It's just something new and useful. And so you basically tried a new area in your life but used tools that you had learned from your old job, and it's useful. And how cool is that? That's awesome. What would you say, do you feed your creativity regularly? Are you like, do you ever go through a time when it's like, I got to sit down at the piano, or I feel like haven't done anything creative? Or do you feel like your job is always creative so you don't have that craving?
So I definitely do have that craving. And so it's interesting now that I have been working my business a little bit more, even though it has a creative aspect, it doesn't give me that like release that it kind of used to, because it's like my business now and I'm more invested in it. So I still have that need, that drive to do something creative just for me that will help me kind of relax and recharge. So yes, I definitely have times where I'm like, oh, I really just want to play piano or play guitar or sing. Recently, I've actually taken to creative writing because as much as I love writing my blogs, they're more of a...
they're fact-based,
So I started doing just like some fiction writing, like just for fun, just for me. And that really helped me kind of scratch that itch in the evening where I'm okay, I'm going to recharge my batteries, disconnect from the business aspect and kind of just, go into this world of writing my own thing and getting, it out on paper and getting into that flow state that you talk about where you kind of get to recharge and refresh. Everything. I definitely try to make that something that I do on a fairly regular basis. It is hard with kids because
sure.
they take up the majority of my day.
Yeah. That's awesome though. Do you, you mentioned flow state, and that's the wonderfully interesting and complex thing about flow state is it is an actual brainwave activation pattern. And yet as many people that have a creative job, and I would consider yours very creative. You're putting video content out there, you're writing, you're doing all this. It's considered a creative job, but it's not giving you flow state because it's a flow state is almost an autopilot sensation, right?
Yeah.
When you don't really make those executive decisions in that prefrontal cortex, so you're kind of allowed to just chill and let the car drive. And everybody has their own unique way to get them into flow. Do you ever find a ritual, you have to have a certain spot in the house or a cup of coffee, or do you have your own little routine?
So it's interesting because before I was doing research, on your stuff and reading about flow state, I was I never really realized this is what it was. So it was really cool to kind of see it as a scientific thing of what's going on in your brain. But so to answer your question, so honestly, for me, the biggest thing for me to be able to get into flow state is just having the time where I know okay, I'm going to have at least an hour or two of uninterrupted time. That's a big thing. The other thing for me is honestly just getting started. So I sometimes can be very analytical about things. And I'm okay, I got to do this. And is everything in place? And sometimes I just need to shut that off and okay, I just need to get started. 5 minutes. And that'll kind of get me into that area where okay, now I'm on autopilot and I'm not overthinking things too much. But yeah, as far as a routine, I wouldn't say I have anything super specific. I don't need to have coffee or be in a special place. It kind of just needs to be the environment needs to be right. Yeah. To not have other distractions.
Yes. You're priming your brain basically. You're I need, and you know what? There's a big crossover with what you're talking about with creativity and fitness. I mean, as a runner, I know there's times I don't feel like running, but I do the 5-minute rule. Okay, just move for 5 minutes. And how many times have I ever regretted a workout? 0. Right. And I'm sure you coach all your clients the same way. It's listen, sometimes you have to schedule it. You have to schedule. It's like being married. You have to schedule time with your spouse too, because otherwise kids take over everything. Yes. And so it's a general life hack that just 5 minutes, just try it. And it softens your brain and the patterns come. And then you realize, okay, this is cool. And if it doesn't, at least you did 5 minutes of brain dump, right?
Exactly. Yes. Because there are those days. Some days you're okay, I'm just going to, I'm going to get started and give 5 minutes. And then it's not clicking, it's not working, whether it's the creative side or even the workout side, most times, 5 minutes is all you need to get started. But some days it's not there, and that's okay.
Yes.
You need to listen, to your body and your mind and be okay, next time it'll be better.
Totally, right. That is hard though, right? Because you have I gotta, but you're right. You got to respect your body sometimes. And you know what? We can't be on and hit the fire every day. And there's those days where you tried the 5 minutes and that run is feeling like 5 miles. So you're just going to call it a day,
Mm-hmm. But I agree. Most times that is kind of all you need to get started and get going.
Right. Awesome. Now, do you have, whether it's in fitness, athletic, or even creative or whatever, do you have a memorable time when you time disappeared and you were in a flow state probably for longer than you thought? Can you describe what that felt like?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it happens to me a lot. And I didn't really recognize it as being flow state until, reading some of your stuff and listening to some of your other podcasts. But one thing when you were describing it in one of your podcasts and you talked about how time changes or time is different. And
prolonged,
yeah, I can totally relate to that because I will be working on something and it'll feel like it's only been 5 minutes, but it's really been 2 hours, which is sometimes bad, especially now as a mom, because I don't always have that time. I need to be sleeping or doing something else. But there's honestly been so many times, but I, recently just, doing some creative writing in the evening where I'm just okay, I'm going to work on this for, maybe a half an hour. And I look at the clock and I just was so into it that, it's hours later and I'm I got so much done. I didn't even, really
That's awesome.
The time go by so fast.
That's awesome. So you mentioned evening. Is evening your creative time? Everybody has a different circadian clock.
It usually is because my husband works second shift. So we will be together in the morning and doing stuff with the kids and kind of, going, like I'll either work and he'll be with the kids or, he'll be out working out and running errands and whatever, that stuff.
Yeah.
That's kind of when we get stuff done. A lot of times for most people that's in the evenings, but for us it's in the mornings. So he works second shift. So then, once the kids go to bed at night,
Perfect.
kind of my time because, unless my husband's off,
Yeah.
much else to do. So yeah, that's definitely my time. And I used to spend that time, in front of the TV eating junk food. I did. And I found that wasn't rejuvenating me. It wasn't doing anything for me. And that I kind of made the switch of trying to do some stuff that was more relaxing and more creative. I mean, I still definitely watch TV. Don't
Sure. You got to have some brain candy,
Exactly. But I found that, using that time to do something creative really helped me mentally to rejuvenate. And now I do kind of think of that as my time, which now it makes it a little bit harder to do my work during that time, because I need something that's going to recharge me a little bit.
I love that. You're absolutely right. You're kind of hitting on something I just read also, like in probably Facebook or some social media post about our redefining what self-care means and in treating myself. We all say, oh, I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to go eat chocolate. I'm going to sit and Netflix binge watch whatever and Netflix and chill, and I'm going to do all this. I'm treating myself. And I think the older we get and when we have kids, it challenges us to use our time wisely. And then even just doing like a body scan. That's what I tell people. After you watch a show and eat some chips or whatever, do a body scan. How do you feel? Do you feel tired or do you feel bloated? Do you feel achy? And then like you said, try something creative and then do a body scan after that. And you're probably feeling more alive, you know?
Yeah, that's honestly pretty much what I did to get to the point where I was like, okay, I need to branch out a little bit more, do some other things, because I would notice my time would go by so quickly where I'd watch, and it's so much harder now because there are things like Netflix where you can just binge watch,
Stranger Things. No.
Yeah. And my sister was telling me I need to start watching that. I actually haven't seen it, but that's on my list.
Don't. Then you'll not have any flow state for weeks. It wrecked me, I'm telling you.
I'm going to send you an email. I'll be like, look what happened.
Totally. Don't go into the abyss.
But yeah, I actually have a blog in the works of like 10 things to do, in your downtime besides Netflix and binge, because there is kind of this association of, eating to relax, even if we're not really hungry and then watching TV. And so one of the things that I've talked about in some of my other blogs too, is that when we eat distractedly, our body doesn't really realize we're doing it. And we often tend to overeat. And then, like you said, we feel bloated, we feel sick, and then we're going to bed at night and our body's trying to work to digest this food and we're not able to get good rest. So it's kind of a vicious cycle. So if you take a moment to kind of be like, okay, this is not something I'm going to do every night. And kind of focus on things that are actually going to help your body instead of
and enhance your life. Like, you kind of realize we are what we repeatedly do. That was another quote I saw. And it is so true. Like, we can't blame society if all we do is just kind of tune out and numb ourselves with, it's like we are what we repeatedly do. And if you just make that conscious decision to, hey, you know what, not every day be this ultimate best self, like optimized person, but allow yourself some fun brain candy every so often, but don't make that a ritual. Cause then, you're going to get sluggish and you're not going to feel good. And oh my gosh, that's so funny. Now tell me, okay, so you did this all on your own. Like a lot of people usually hit some kind of rock bottom, either it's a health crisis or something, and you just kind of said, hey, I want to be a better self. What would you say to somebody who has some frustration in their life or a mental block? How would you encourage them to think about themselves as a creative person or differently?
Oh yeah. Okay. So that is a great question, because I definitely, so like I had kind of told you earlier, I struggled with postpartum depression after my second child was born, and I got into a very bad mental state kind of overall. And I got to a point where I was, gaining more weight, even after kind of having lost some initially, after having my baby. And I kind of got into this routine of, not being very mentally active, even though I was still being somewhat physically active, eating a lot of junk food and just feeling kind of down about myself. And I kind of got to the point where I was like, this is going to continue, for possibly the rest of my life if I don't make changes. So a big thing for me, and it's hard to say exactly how I did it, but a big thing for me was definitely stopping and thinking, how do I feel after, I spend a night binging on the couch?
Nice.
And then how do I feel if I, do something else for myself, whether that's like take a walk or take a bath or talk to a friend on the phone, or do something creative. And I was able to realize like, oh, I feel so much better. And I think that kind of just mentally being able to connect those dots, and it's not really something you can force, and you have to be kind to yourself when you're in the process.
Absolutely.
Oh, you're so lazy and you're so, you can't do that because our bodies are naturally inclined to just want to have that rest. And it is very tempting to get that, from TV and from delicious junk food.
Right.
I mean, I get it, so my biggest thing I want to tell anybody is like, I get it. I am not, a special person to be able to say that like, oh, I don't, eat junk food that much or I stay active. Like, this is all stuff that I definitely had to work on making it a habit. So I think the biggest thing is to start slow. Start slow, be kind to yourself, encourage yourself. You're not every night, you're not going to, have the most productive evening or the most, like amazing creative time or whatever it is you're trying to do. But, just starting, it really sets, it's kind of like when you're trying to get into a workout plan. It's going to be a lot harder at first. You've got to build that habit. But once you can get there and, start to make it so it is something that you find that you enjoy doing, and that's a big thing. You have to enjoy it. And it's not something you dread, then you start to look forward to that and you start to appreciate, the endorphins and all the things that are going on in your brain, whether it's through creativity or through working out.
Yes,
and you will start to kind of crave that the way that you used to crave the stuff that wasn't maybe so good for you.
That's great advice. Yeah,
definitely.
I love that.
I would say definitely, just get started, small amounts. And, reach out to someone who's kind of been there. I mean, I love to talk to people, Facebook message them and stuff like that. If they have questions about, how to get started working out, or if they're struggling, like with whether it's poor eating habits or not feeling motivated to work out. Like I've been there. I have been there. I did not, I was not, like I said, I wasn't an active person as a child. This isn't something I've done all my life. Like I have pretty much been through most of those things. I get it. And I definitely think you got to find that support, and you cannot beat yourself up. You just have to kind of, get started.
Yes, I think that's perfect advice, because what you're saying too is another key is set yourself up for success. Like, we all have the time, and I tease my husband all the time, and he would be fine with me sharing the story because it makes me laugh every time. In residency, we wanted to be fit. We're like, we're sleep deprived, but we know this is important. And he got motivated one day. I forget what he was thinking, and he had this whole workout plan. He titled it "Get Your Fat Ass Up Workout," and it was hilarious. And he had it all printed out on this cool, awesome Type A, spreadsheet. Nice. And we were going to fill it in, and it lasted 2 days, because it was so huge, right?
Yes.
And what you're saying makes so much sense. Is being mindful is the best thing ever. Is just being mindful of your body and how you feel, and treating yourself with grace and saying, I'm going to do one little thing. And I think consistency is way better than amount. If you can just do something and make that first thing a habit. And like you said, check in with yourself and go, wow, this is really adding to my life. I'm feeling better. And maybe I should add a little more here and there. And that's how change is made, right? It's slow rivers. Yeah.
Exactly.
I think that's great. Oh my gosh. It has been an absolute joy. I could talk with you forever. Oh my goodness.
No, this has been awesome. Just kind of going into everything.
So good. And I love your mission to just help moms, because postpartum depression is real. And I really think that it's underestimated. I think a lot of women go through such severe hormonal changes. And I almost would like to treat it like a fourth trimester where, we all have that shock. And the fact that you are using that as a wonderful platform to get women strong and feeling empowered and have a tribe. And little do you know, that's getting them more creative, because the more you do cross-body brain activation, you actually help yourself with the gamma brain waves and all that stuff. So it's so great. I'm so glad you're out there, Cassandra.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you so much for talking with me today. It's really great. I definitely kind of want to get my message out there, to other women, other moms, even guys. We do plans for guys too. So
everyone's strong dad. Yes.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, I mean, it is really important, especially, as a mom, as a parent, it's okay to take some time for yourself. I think that's something that a lot of moms struggle with. They get this guilt of thinking, they should never take time for themselves. And, it's really not true, because if you are happy, if you are in a good place mentally, your kids are going to pick up on that, and they are going to.
Absolutely. Very well said, Cassandra. I mean, they've even done medical studies where kids that are with moms that even have a low level of just melancholy, depression, kids sense that energy. It's out there, it's in the universe, and they know. And not that, again, we have to be rosy, sunshiny all the time, but when kids see you role model that, oh no, mom's going to take about 10 minutes and do some ab exercises or whatever you want to do. The kids know, okay, you're not leaving them. You're taking care of yourself. And then they're more likely, wouldn't you want your child to do the same? When they're older, they should take care of themselves. So I love that you're role modeling that for your kids. I think that's amazing.
Thank you.
So we can find you at fitstrongmoms.com, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you have videos on there and blog entries, and I can't wait to see what else you come up with. And I hope we cross paths again. You're awesome.
Yeah. I definitely would love to talk again if you want to. So thank you so much.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Cassandra, for sharing your story. For all of you listening, subscribe to us on iTunes, and you can check the show notes in YouTube, our YouTube channel, where you'll see more about Cassandra. Find her at fitstrongmoms.com, connect with her on Facebook, and definitely, if you're interested in diving deeper into your creative, intuitive spirit to help you battle burnout and help you thrive instead of survive, go to rightbrainrescue.com and you'll get your admitting orders, or just sign up for our free weekly newsletter where you'll get creativity hacks, functional medicine tips, and ways that you can optimize to your best self. For now, thanks again and have a creative day.